Making headlines tonight, November 30th, to be known as Barbados National Day instead of Independence Day. A new state-of-the-art training facility for fire officers is to be constructed in St. Lucie. The new Minister for Crime Prevention supports a new roller skating initiative, bringing people together. And in sports, Barbados Pride starts the 2022 CG Super 50 on a winning note.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
A pleasant good night to you. I'm Shane Seeley. Thank you for joining us. From this year, November 30th, will be known as Barbados National Day. This has been revealed by the chairman of the Cabinet Subcommittee in charge of the November 30th celebrations, the Minister of Home Affairs and Information, Wilfred Abrams. At a media conference this afternoon at Alara Court, Minister Abrams said that for the first time in 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be a full celebration of any and all things Barbadian for our 56th anniversary of independence and first anniversary as a republic.
The Cabinet of Barbados took the decision to henceforth observe November 30th as Barbados National Day, commemorating our independence from Britain in 1966 and our transition to parliamentary republic in 2021. Indeed, the national events on November 30th will culminate with an entire month of celebration comprising sporting activities, cultural and heritage-inspired activities, including the lighting ceremony which takes place this afternoon. The second humanitarian awards ceremony on November 20th, road tennis as well as other sporting competitions, NIFCA events are back in full flight, and the Spirit of the Nation pageant, as well as some new events and new activities which will be publicized and promoted with an official calendar of Barbados National Day events coming out later this week.
Minister Abrams also gave a sneak preview of some of the highlights for Barbados National Day.
The annual ceremonial parade, conferral of national honors and the presentation of leadership badges to the head boys and head girls of all public and private secondary and primary schools returned to Kensington Oval at 8 a.m. The uniformed groups will march in a ceremonial parade from Kensington to National Heroes Square, where the Prime Minister and the full cabinet will receive the salute. A toast to the nation reception in honor of the new national honors awardees will take place at State House and be hosted by the President of Barbados. And the first Barbados National Day concert in Bridgetown will be a fitting finale to the day and month of celebration.
And as far as the Barbados National Day concert is concerned, National Cultural Foundation CEO Carol Roberts-Reefer noted it will be three-pronged.
On November 30th, for the first ever Barbados National Day concert, those three squares will come alive, free to the public, with those three projects: the 100 Voice project, the National Steel Orchestra, and the National Youth Orchestra. Just a few hours before that, during the ceremonial parade and the other activities at Kensington Oval on the morning of Barbados National Day, we will also be coordinating a very special cultural presentation. The kernel of it started, Minister, on November 29th at the Pride and Nationhood event in National Heroes Square, where the Mass Police and Defence Force bands met up musically with a percussion contingent, again featuring tuk and drums. And we've taken that to another level. We're about to start rehearsals, and all I will say about that is that you should also come out to see that.
Let's count down. Gabriella, we're going to count down. Let's do it together. Ladies and gentlemen, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flick the switch. There we go. And the lights in Bridgetown are on. Look around you, ladies and gentlemen.
Bridgetown, they're being transformed into a spectacular city of lights as national junior swimmer there Gabriella Bab flipped the switch around 6:10 this evening. One of Barbados' favorite national traditions returned this year with the Sagicor Life Incorporated lighting ceremony and Bajan Brew. President Dame Sandra Mason headlined a cohort of dignitaries that filled Independence Square along with cabinet ministers, parish ambassadors, officials, and scores of onlookers. Various performances illustrated the evening's event in a cultural showpiece. As is customary, the nation's capital was illuminated in the national colors of ultramarine and gold, much to the delight of those gathered. Member of Parliament for the City of Bridgetown, Corey Lane, said, while the country has been feeling the negative effects of individualism, a move towards nationalism is on the way.
Some of the social ills that we see within the nation is because we've moved from that collective to the meism and the individualism. Though I am sad to report that I am happy and excited to say to you that a change is coming. A change is coming as we continue to support programs like the Caribbean Independence Celebration, where we can reflect not only in nationhood in November, but we reflect nationhood every single month, every single day of the year as we be proud Barbadians.
Meanwhile, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Sagicor Life Incorporated, Paul Innes, said his company has been loyal to Barbados' development.
Our commitment, therefore, to Barbados remains unchanged, which is the reason we continue to be a part of this ceremonious occasion, as well as several other national events and programs throughout the year. This is the reason we continue to support and invest in our communities, because at the end of the day, we are here because of you, the people of Barbados, because of past generations, and because of our forefathers who laid the foundation for us.
In other news, on Newsnight, a new state-of-the-art training facility for fire officers is to be constructed in St. Lucie. This was revealed by the Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard as the fire service received the keys for a new top-of-the-line tender. Sharika Griffith was there and filed this report.
As local officials strive to have Barbados classified as Category 1 status with the International Civil Aviation Organization, efforts are being made to ensure firefighters assigned to the country's airport are properly trained.
We have to train persons specifically for airport firefighting. And right on this compound, we don't have that facility, but we're building out a state-of-the-art facility in St. Lucie to cater to airport firefighting and municipal firefighting, training in search and rescue and all the other aspects. The facility in St. Lucie is at Spring Garden in St. Lucie. It's government land, so we don't have to purchase that land. And it's about between 5 to 7 acres of land.
Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard made the revelation during the commissioning of a new fire tender for the airport. With the arrival of the new appliance, which was delayed approximately 6 months due to supply chain issues, the fire chief says the number of tenders stationed at the airport will remain at 4, as one will be retired.
These that we have, the ones you're above you, these are all about 22 years old. And that is really old for our fire plants. Most countries retire their fire plants at between 10 to 15 years.
Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams said after being briefed by the fire chief of the urgent need for at least 3 new tenders, Cabinet approved the purchase of the new truck received today, along with 2 others at a price tag of about $3 million.
This tender, crash tender for use at the airport alone took out 1.4 million of that budget. But as you can see when they show you the inside, you will see where the differences lay, and if you can appreciate it, what is required in the crash tender for use at an airport or around aviation fuel or specific circumstances, that is not the same crash tender that you would go out to a house fire.
As for the other 2 tenders, Minister Abrams says they're in production. They will be deployed to the Bridgetown and St. John fire stations. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
A fresh appeal tonight to corporate Barbados to give special needs students a chance to be part of the workforce. It comes as the principal and comes from the principal of the Anthill School, Imelda Bell, as the school put on a career showcase. Barbados is a signatory to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, but she's concerned movement in this regard has been somewhat dormant. Principal Bell wants the business community and the general public to embrace special needs students.
Many times they look at the things they cannot do, but we are here this morning to encourage corporate Barbados, businesses, entrepreneurs to see what our students can do. Sometimes it just takes a person coming alongside them and working with them to achieve the goals that other persons might be able to do in maybe 2 or 3 tries. Maybe it might take our children a little longer, but when they get it, they have it, and they are able to work and, produce and be a part of the workforce.
The showcase focuses on the school leavers, those in 5th and upper 5th forms, with many of them set to receive some level of Caribbean vocational qualification. CVQ coordinator Carla Gittins says the skills training through the CVQs better suits students with special needs.
So we're bringing in persons like mixologists, chef, SJPI, which mostly skills, Barbados Defense Force, the fire service. We even have somebody, a dog groomer from Rough Cuts, those persons who the children will be interested in. I also did a survey and the children told me the areas that they were most interested in, and I tried to then get those persons to come in to show their career.
Coming up after the break on CBC NewsNight, Barbados and CARICOM preparing for the upcoming 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP27. Barbados and other CARICOM states are preparing for the upcoming 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference, better known as COP27, which opens in a matter of days in Egypt. The Ministers of the Environment and Sustainable Development of CARICOM met over the weekend for the 150th special meeting of the Council for Trade and Economic Development, COTED, to determine what positions they will take at the conference. Conversations focused on deliberating ways of effectively tackling climate change and the existential threat it poses to the 15-member bloc. Executive Director of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Dr. Colin Young, is hopeful this year's event will have a better outcome than COP26.
As a region, we had gone into COP26 with some high-level expectations, 3 really, and we left COP26 with none of those outcomes becoming realizing those outcomes. So the first issue was around mitigation, cutting back the global emissions of greenhouse gases in line with the science, which was saying that we had to cut emissions by about 50% relative to 2010 levels, and then make commitments for net zero by 2050. When we tallied all of the emission reduction cuts that were made by developed countries and developing countries, we would still be on a path of increasing global emissions by 14%.
Barbados' ambassador to CARICOM, David Commichong, is keeping abreast of developments in Haiti. CARICOM has been holding several meetings with Haitian officials and Canada as the crisis situation worsens there. Following a request for the deployment of international forces to assist the country, Ambassador Commichong says decisions on Haiti have to be made soon. His comments came on the Conversations on CARICOM segment of CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
The Security Council has to make a decision. CARICOM has to make a decision. Countries like Canada have to make decisions. So it is important that the Caribbean people be made aware that all of this is going on. And so that they're not taken by surprise if and when decisions are announced in the next few days.
The Coastal Zone Management Unit is doing a marine spatial plan for Barbados' territorial waters and exclusive economic zone. Permanent Secretary Sonia Foster said it is currently being done. She was speaking during the unit's rebranding.
A 5 to 7 year program that will engage with all sectors operating in the coastal and maritime space to produce an orderly framework for the long-term development and sustainable management of our Blue Environment jurisdiction. The rebranding of the unit's logo, therefore, is not a superficial exercise, but in the way of celebrating its 40th year in 2023, it speaks to a coming of age, a time to look back on where you've come from, what you have achieved, a time for critical perspective, what is required to move the unit forward for the next generation.
Director of the unit, Dr. Leo Brewster, says the rebranding shows the work and purpose of the blue economy.
We were now at a stage where, because the blue economy was starting to become prominent, and because we were now part of a ministry of the blue economy, it was essential to us to turn our focus to the ocean and to look towards what opportunities there are and will be out there for us in all that we do. Coastal rose to the challenge, and we in our own right recognize that we will have to be one of the mainstay forces for the blue economy drive within any ministry that we are put in, and we took that challenge on head on.
The logo was unveiled before staff today, and its design is about the future of the environment and the blue economy. Government is keen to partner wherever possible with private sector entities in rolling out wholesome community-based programs to curtail the crime situation in Barbados. This from the newly appointed Minister of State in the Office of the Attorney General with responsibility for crime prevention, Corey Lane. Minister Lane, who is also the MP for the city of Bridgetown, made the point recently during a community skating activity at Cricket Legends called Skate-O-Ween. It was staged by Skate Life Barbados and was a night out for everyone to enjoy. Under glaring lights, patrons were exposed to some of the costume characters of the Halloween season. Mr. Lane stressed this activity was just one of the several proposed initiatives, such as skating tourism and Smile for Skating for the Kids, which according to him help to bring communities and by extension the country together.
I see people coming together, and I see this bringing communities together, and I see this bringing Barbados together. I see people that can skate real good, dance, and spin around to those who know learning. I see the boys and I see the girls. I see the men, I see the women. I see the young and I see the younger. I see the criminals, I see the police, I see the injured, I see the nurses, the witches, I see the angels. So this is basically a bringing together to everybody. Yes, and I see the pirates, and I see the little ones, and I hear about the Smile on Skates, and that's something I want to support. All the time we talk about negative, it's time that we highlight the positive.
Founder of Skate Life Barbados, Mikey Lane, says the Skate-O-Ween concept was well received by Barbadians, and he hopes to make it an annual event.
Name Skate-O-Ween came from one of our members, Stacia. She liked the idea of doing skating and combining it with Skate-O-Ween. And as you can see in the background, everybody took into it. They loved the idea coming together and skating with a theme. We have our costumes together, we got the music, and we bought the young kids in the early, we gave them the treats. We got the mature people doing it now as well. And as I said before, you know, it wasn't only nostalgic view for us, but the young ones are really getting into the Halloween and Skate-O-Ween thing. So this is something we would like to do every year, bigger and better.
Barbadians have been turning out in their numbers to watch the locally produced zombie movie Into the Darkness. The film premiered last Friday, October 28th at Olympus Theaters, and director Stockton Miller says despite a few technical challenges, the response from the public and cinema officials has been overwhelming.
It was supposed to show on one night, by the way, but they really enjoyed the film, so they decided to show it for the next 2 weeks or more, depending on the turnout. It screened also on Saturday. It screened yesterday. So far, the reviews and the feedback have been positive. Obviously, there are some people that say some bad things because they didn't understand the story or whatever. But that's just how it is.
After the screenings in Barbados, Miller says his eyes are set on getting the film into regional and international markets.
Distributors are seeing the trailers and stuff like that. They contacted Barbados Productions about wanting to distribute the film internationally. We have a distribution deal to have it screened in cinemas throughout the Caribbean. It's been confirmed. We are currently screening in the Olympus, but we are not finished yet. the film still needs more work in the audio department. Unfortunately, we don't have enough funds right now to do that. So we are depending on the NCF to help us out, and hopefully they will. And after that, we would fix the audio to the international standards, and then we would push for the regional and the international cinemas.
In business tonight, a data protection expert is contending private and public entities in Barbados need to spend more money on enhancing cybersecurity. Stephen Williams says this is necessary as various systems are constantly under threat. He made the point this morning during his presentation for a webinar hosted by the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries on understanding data privacy here in Barbados.
We spend millions of dollars in physical defense, defending our shores, defending our borders. But we are more linked to get a cyber attack against critical infrastructure such as water, electricity, or the electric company, critical government infrastructure such as the new ID card systems. Those systems are more likely to get attacked than Barbados ever get physically attacked or invaded by a third-party country.
Noting data has become a sought-after commodity in recent times, Williams warns any successful breaches can have devastating impacts for all involved.
Those actors who collect the data can use it back on us in a way that, can be a national security issue and at least, at the bare minimum, make our lives very, very miserable on a day. So take, for example, a miserable thing, right, would be credit card theft, where your credit card is compromised. And, basically that type of fraud can make your life very, very miserable. On the upper end, people who basically collate and capture data now in such a way that they use it for nefarious activity, can use you as a target or can use groups of colleagues or groups of people in the country as targets for other types of nefarious activity and actions that can then even lead to more consequences.
Time for the second innings in sports. More cricket on the horizon, but this time the Masters getting into the action.
Yeah, thanks so much, Shane. We're starting tomorrow, running through to next week, Friday. 8 teams from 7 countries, including 2 from the West Indies, will battle for the BMC Over 50s Caribbean Cup 2022. The inaugural tournament, organized by the Cricket West Indies Masters Association, will be hosted across 4 venues here in Barbados and is expected to be a precursor to the Over 50s World Cup set for March of next year.
It was born out of the over 50s body not being able to, or decided to postpone the over 50s World Cup. Everybody had plans to go to South Africa in November of this month. So we thought it was a great opportunity to be using as a practice tournament for selection for all the countries who were willing to come, and it was overwhelmingly supported by all the countries that are here. So the guys, thank you very much for being here and being part of this exciting tournament.
Well, the Barbados Cricket Association has fully endorsed the tournament, seeing it as part of their mandate to not only expand their annual calendar, but also as their way of tapping into viable sports tourism avenues.
The CA has embarked in the last couple of years of not only promotion and development of our domestic cricket and the general things that we do, but our focus is to build some cricket tourism products. In particular, our aim is to develop an annual cricket festival in Barbados in November.
Well, 4 athletes will represent Barbados at the Pan American Under-15 Wrestling Championships in Colombia from tomorrow until the 9th. Now we can tell you first-timers Aidan Williams of St. Leonard's Boys and Kimar Williams of Alexandra School will be joined by Commermere student Rebecca Williams and Cody Marshall of Queen's College. They departed the island today along with Cuban coach Yaima Payne. Payne told CBC Sports yesterday the group is well prepared and should give a good account of themselves.
As a coach, I am very happy, and the Federation very proud also the job that we have done from the early age, and we well prepare for this championship. Very glad that the protocol of the COVID-19 is up now in the country, so we spend more time doing technical work and fitness also. The boys and the girls, they're really training hard for this, and I know that some medals will come home. And I would like to say thank you to the St. Leonard's Boys School that always give the opportunity to training. Also, the Barbados Olympic Association for sponsor us.
And before we go, the Prime Minister, Mia Moore-Motley, saying that Anthony Walren is worthy of the highest praise as she paid tribute to the late former chairman of the National Cultural Foundation. Ms. Motley notes Mr. Walren gave many years of faithful, dedicated service to Barbadian youth as a teacher, and he also gave stellar contributions to the development of the Calypso art form and culture in general. He was also a community leader in the parish of St. John. The Prime Minister extends sincere condolences to the family of Anthony Walren. May he rest in peace. And that's our news. I'm Shane Seeley. Good night.
Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.